Hello, everyone. Yes. You're welcome to today's live session. We've got this topic again to share with you. It is happening. This is a breaking news. You can see it already on the screen. We all know that, the judge in the United States gave Atiku's team of lawyers and that of Tinubu time to go and work on their appeal or whatever and come back to court to submit their argument. And like you can see what we have here, Atiku's lawyer is pleading to the judge not to release Tinubu's gender nor his transcript. They only want his certificate to be released, nothing else. They don't want us to know if it was a female or a male that attended the Chicago State University. My people, is this one not shocking? Is it not even embarrassing? Can you imagine a sitting president telling the school where he graduated from not to unveil his gender nor his transcript? Because these things are going to contain more details. So I'm going to allow Dr. Tel to come in to just analyze to our viewers what this article contains. Doctor, please, over to you.
Good evening, Nigerians and lovers of Nigeria. When we read or hear something like this, it looks like that kind of evening tale stories we tell children. But this is real.
It's real.
This thing you see there, it's not a headline that any news agent coined so as to catch attention. It is real. It is real. It is real. Now, but my worry is that as real as it is, our judges in Nigeria will treat it as if it's a no issue. As real as it is, our judges in Nigeria will put in jail someone who picked pocket in the market, but allow people who are perpetrating this level. You know how it took JAMB just less than a week? You remember that small girl, they said that she forged JAMB results. It took JAMB less than a week to bar her from writing JAMB again. It became JAMB jumped, pounced on that girl. And this level of people, these untouchables, are telling judges, okay, fine. I can see that it is impossible for you to completely block all these things. Can we beg you, if you must release, just release certificate and not how I came into the university. You know why? Because the certificate bears a name that is the same name that we know. But we do know, Nigerians, that two people may have the same name, the same initials. When you were in the university, haven't you seen someone who have the same initials as you? Now we have seen the last name, or what we call the surname. We have also seen the first name, but there is a middle name that came with A. And that middle name that came with A have been a whole lot of things. We have seen certificate where it's read as Adekunle. We have also seen that A means Ahmed. But it is when we see the details of how this person was admitted, that is when Nigerians will know what that A represents. That is number one. Number two, remember that the details released to Enahoro Eba showed that the person that was admitted to that university was a female, not a male. But the person we are dealing with, the person we know, our own Bola A. Tinubu is a male. Our own Nigerian Bola A. Tinubu, who happens to be the president, is a male. But the record held by the university, which was previously released to a lawyer through subpoena, says that Bola A. Tinubu that went to a university in Chicago is a female. Now, if somebody is saying, release only a certificate bearing Bola A. Tinubu, but don't release the record of admission, how do we answer the question that Atiku is asking? Because Atiku is saying that he is not sure whether the person whom we know is the person who went to the university. Okay? Secondly, let us look at it this way. Another way we're going to look at it is this. We were also told that that person who went to that university is an American citizen, a Black American citizen. But we know that our own BAT is not an American citizen, according to the information he gave to INEC. But the person who went to that university is an American citizen. So the question I want to ask is it possible for the judge to grant this prayer without denying Atiku the substance of what he wants to establish? It's not possible. Because what Atiku is trying to establish is that the BAT we know in Nigeria is not the BAT that went to the university. And that information cannot be shown on the page of the certificate. And now, again, all the errors in that certificate, all the errors in that particular certificate we're talking about, the error in the date that it was signed, the error in the logo, the error in the person who signed, and the error on the number of people who signed. These are the errors that was identified in the two certificates, the one given to Enahoreba and the one given to INEC. The one given to Enahoreba had only two signatures. One, different logo. Two, different dates. Three, four, different fonts. So there are four major differences. You know, I don't know, did you do it when you are small? That thing they say, spot the difference, spot the difference. We used to do it in Punch, even Punch newspaper, Vanguard newspaper, you go to the back page, spot the difference. In this certificate, the difference is big. The moment you look at two of them, the whole certificate is a different one because the font is different from this. So you can just circle the whole certificate as difference number 1. And then you look at the dates, difference number 2. And then you look at the logo, difference number 3. And then you look at the number of people that signed, difference number 4. And then you look at the names of the people that signed, difference number 5. So Atiku is saying, I confuse, if there's any English like that. Atiku is saying, I confusion. And the only way I can erase this confusion is for the university to come and sit under oath and confirm which one is the correct one. That's number 1. Then listen again. And Atiku went further to say that he wants the judge to approve that the university must give him a copy of the certificate issued to another student in 1979, where the name of the person will be redacted. Redacted means covered. So that he can see the sample of the certificate that was issued that year, the sample of the fonts, the sample of the logo, the sample of the people who signed the signature, and the sample of the dates of the graduation. Is it possible for the judge to refuse Atiku this prayer? I don't know. But if the judge grants the other prayer and deny Atiku this prayer, that judge, that judge would have castrated Atiku's prayers, because there is nothing the judge will approve that will amount to helping him in another court. Remember, Atiku told the judge, I need this information to prove my case in Nigeria. I am trying to establish in Nigeria that the person who went to the university is not the person who is my opponent in the election. So Atiku has laid down his case. So even the judge in the US is on trial now. If he denies Atiku the valid parts to prove his case, if he castrates Atiku's prayer, I be say that judge too don't do Oluwole. We know that our judges in Nigeria, Shebi, our Supreme Court is getting burnt today. I don't know why it's got burnt. But even if our Supreme Court will throw away that information, Nigerians are saying whether or whether. Is anything like that? I'm enjoying my Nigerian English tonight. Whether there is anything like whether the Supreme Court admits this information in evidence or not, Nigeria says we want to know. Let us know which one is the truth, because the person in question is a high-profile person who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of our country. We want to know. Does that make sense? And Nigerians are delighted. Nigerians are waiting to know indeed whether for between 20 and 24 years, whether somebody has been hiding something or whether we have been accusing somebody wrongly for 20 to 24 years now. This thing Atiku is asking will solve this problem. It will solve this problem. Period. So, see, let me recapitulate again the things that Atiku need, which will be impossible for this judge to deny unless the judge just wanted to harm Atiku. Atiku says, simple. Chicago State University, go to your archives. Give me a sample of the certificate you issued in 1979. Let me see the logo. Let me see the dates. Let me see the signatures of the people who signed it, so that we will know whether the person who was employed 20 years after was grabbed from the street to come to sign signature even when they have not employed the person. Because the person that signed the signature that is on the certificate that we have with our INEC, the person was employed by the university 20 years after the signature was signed. What it means is that if you graduated from the University of Nigeria in 1984, in 2004, someone that the University of Nigeria hired in 2004 went back in history to sign your certificate in 1984. Imagine that. So Atiku is saying, university, come clean. It's either you come clean or you roast yourself. So Atiku has put today the university management on their toe. It's either the management buries themselves in order to save somebody in Nigeria, or they roast somebody in Nigeria in order to save their image. And the only person that will determine is the judge. So if the judge decides to answer this prayer today, the judge would have saved the university and saved the man in Nigeria, and only Atiku will be injured. But if the judge decides to make sure that Atiku is not injured because his prayer is real, then somebody in Nigeria is going to go for it, or the university will go for it. So we are sitting, we are watching. We are not saying that in Nigeria, we are used to them looking at the law and tossing it. We are used to them seeing koro what the law says, and they fling it as if they don't care. But we are hoping that America has not degenerated to that extent when it comes to fundamental rights of people. when they seek redress in the courts. But let it be given to Atiku. Let him come over to Nigeria. Even if they burn it, even if the way the evidence will be kept will be burnt like the chamber that got burnt today, no problem. Let it be given to us first. Okay, so anything else?
Look, honestly, sounds very funny. For me, I'm saying if he's saying they shouldn't unveil his gender, does it mean he's a man and at the same time a woman? Is it not a transgender or a man-woman identity? I don't even know. Honestly, Nigerian. So this is where we found ourselves today. We have a president that doesn't want his gender to be unveiled. Oh my God. Funny things will not happen in any other place, if not in Nigeria. But Doc, I'm like thinking, what if this judge decides to listen to Tinubu's plea?
That's what I said. Then
Because this judge himself, although you said something was it day before yesterday, you were like, the judge was very nice, he was very straightforward for him to had conveyed them, virtually for them to talk. But at the same time, I'm looking at it this way. Why is it that this judge stopped what the other court ruled?
No. It's an appellate court. It's a higher court. It's an appeal. No, it's an appeal. It says so far so good. The lower court, which is the magistrate court, heard it, gave ruling, and then they appealed to a higher court. They exercised their right. And when they appealed to that higher court, the judge convened them immediately and heard from them and asked them to appear before her today, a lady actually. So they appeared today and then made their case. Because remember that in this thing, they did say it will it will be injurious to them. So the judge was like, okay, today tell me. So in pleading, they now say, okay, you know what? More like, judge, please, okay, let's have a deal. Let it not be that you didn't ask them, university to release. Let the university go ahead with certifying the certificate. But other information that had to do with the gender of the person who got admitted, we don't want it. In fact, the truth is that when this kind of a thing comes up, we should by now know that there is a problem somewhere, isn't it? We should by now know. So what it means. So all these things David Hundeyin had been saying for almost a year now. So they're all true.
Honestly.
They're all true.
Honestly.
And then our judges wrapped it all up and didn't even want to make mention of the validity of this thing during the presidential election petitions court judgment. You know the trick the judges are using today? Like they did it in the Enugu case. NYSC came to testify about the forgery of the certificate in Enugu governor. Do you know what they did? They did not even as much as they knocked off the NYSC testimony, saying that it was a subpoena witness, that they should have front-loaded it. Thereby trying to do what? Kill that by saying they didn't even look at it at all. And my fear, as I had said, is that the appeal court already is now started that precedent of if you don't upload, if you don't front load your testimony, they will not handle it. They know that, and they quoted the appeal court, which means by the time you get to appeal court will sustain it. So we're only hoping that the Supreme Court will throw it down. But my worry is, if the Supreme Court throws it down, it means they will also throw down the presidential. And if they throw down that appeal court decision at the Supreme Court, it means that Obi's prayer is going to be answered. So my fear now is, with the likes of Enugu governor and the likes of the new person they want to impose on Kano, right under the cover they have created for the president and remain in power. Are you getting the theory here? And I said it before the judgment of this presidential election petitions court, that my fear is that if these people veer out of the path of justice, the path of the Electoral Act 2022, and the Supreme Court sustains it, then it means that all the irregularities that occurred in the governorship election tribunals, all of them will also be covered, because they can't be ruling this way in the presidency and be ruling the other way in the governors. I said it, that is the implication, that it will not just affect the presidency, that it's going to be like a poison that will spread across the country. So are you seeing how the chain reaction of the new law they are writing for us, the chain reaction that happens when one man must be protected, every other person who commits the kind of thing the person committed will be covered, because you can't say to the person, you are bad, and then say to the other person who did it first, you're good. You see that you say all of them are good, and all of them will pass. So it worries me, really. It worries me like what happened in Kano. Okay, today, Lagos State petitions, the tribunal, we have to give their judgment. It's still very sketchy. Jando's prayers completely was thrown out. And of course, I knew. In fact, I was telling someone earlier today, I said, listen, Lagos own, I'm not even thinking about it. I said, the judges of the tribunal in Lagos, I'm sure they have been expressly warned that if you shift, you lose your job. Because Lagos is their prized jewel. They can't afford to lose Lagos again, as they lost in the presidential election. They would do anything to sustain Lagos. And no judge would dare near Lagos and rule anything that will not keep APC in Lagos. No matter the substance of the case of Jandor or what's his name? What again? Rosevivor. No matter the substance of their case, forget. They will deny them any form of justice. They will come to appeal court. They will deny it. In fact, I can tell you that the president himself will call the Supreme Court judge, Chief Judge, and say, warn anybody handling Lagos. I don't want to play with Lagos. Lagos is my state. And Sanwo-Olu is my boy. Even if he didn't come up for election, he must remain governor. I'm sorry. That's in the light of what we have been witnessing so far, that's my own personal thinking. Because I'm no longer thinking logical according to what is in the law. It is according to the temperature, the emotion, the way the judges decide. The law now pops up in the head of the judges. Depending on where they are, they create a law for that place. That's the way I'm seeing it. So I'm not expecting anything from Lagos, to be honest.
Yeah, Doc, thank you very much for your thoughts. For me, I think God knows how to catch people. You know, when the tribunal ruled, the judges, they ruled in a way that they know that the people can do nothing. The petitioners cannot do anything. But God knows how to. This topic that Atiku is like fighting on, it has a very strong weight and is going to affect the sitting president expressly. That is why Atiku is not like bowing out of it. And you can see the extent to which he has fought this fight. He has really fought a good fight. To this point now, for the president to come out and start saying that, please don't unveil my gender. Nigerians, what an embarrassment. What an embarrassment, honestly. When you see what other countries are saying about Nigeria, you will be ashamed of yourself. Every day you keep seeing many.
I have friends here who laugh at me all the time. They will come.
I'm telling you.
They will laugh at me and I feel ashamed of myself.
If go and see what Cameroonians are just talking about Nigeria. They now use Nigeria to make money on social media.
I'm telling you.
I'm
I'm
telling
telling
you, they use our country since after this election. People from other countries, especially the neighboring countries, they are cashing out using Nigeria, using the current government. And this one again, another topic. Don't unveil my gender and my transcript. Release only my certificate. Even the certificate itself has its own issues. There are so many things, so many question marks around that certificate. So, guys, you can see what we are saying. When we come on this show, some people think it's all about being tribalistic. Some people say you are just doing it to favor Peter Obi. No, this is all about Nigeria. This is all about Nigeria. Look at the kind of ruling that came from the tribunal. These people, you just get to know that they don't even have the interest of Nigeria at heart. For them to throw away almost all the prayers, they just trash out everything. And that is one of the reasons why Atiku has been somehow silent, but he has been working them, behind the scene. He has been dealing with them. For him to just wake up and head to the US fighting this fight, he knew he was going to get something out of it, if not for any other thing. To this extent that he has fought this fight, I think he has really tried. It means that our president has got something to hide. We don't know if he's a female while he was in the university, or if he was still the male that we know he is while he was in this school. Why ask the judge not to unveil? The Chicago State University shouldn't release your gender. The gender aspect is even the most touching aspect. Does it mean he went into that university as a female? There've been this speculation. Now is a time to verify, and he doesn't want us to verify. Honestly, Nigerians.
you remember that there was somebody that always say go and verify, and another people are saying don't ever
Don't
verify.
verify.
So who should we
You can now see
who should we have said we should follow? Is it the person that said go and verify? And they tried all they could do to verify everything. And they realized that there is nothing to find. Nothing, no skeleton in his cupboard. No skeleton in his cupboard.
Peter Obi has even lent his voice, in this certificate of a thing. He was in Suka, that was last week. He made a statement about this. He was like, you said you attended this university, and when they said, let's go and get your certificate or your records, you said, no, the university shouldn't release your certificate. He himself is like, why did you even in the first place tell Nigerians or tell INEC that you graduated? You don't even need those qualifications to become a president. You would have just said, is your school start or whatever. He made reference to the CEO of the owner of Apple, the man that owned Apple originally. That these
Yes.
people he was a dropout, He didn't
Yes.
come out to say, I'm a master's degree holder, I'm a PhD holder, and all that. He dropped out of school. Look at even Mark Zuckerberg. It's the same thing. He dropped out, but look at where they are today. So you mustn't come to present yourself that you went to Chicago State University, you had first class and all that. And when people say, okay, let's see your records, you say, no, that you cannot see my record. You are now begging the judge, please don't release my record. It will cause irreparable harm or whatever damage or whatever he was saying last time. So that is where we are today. I just hope that this judge will understand the sensitivity that is attached to this case and just grant Atiku's request so that he can pursue his appeal and the Supreme Court, because we can't afford to have a president that we don't know if he's a male or if he's a female. Yeah, that's just it. Doc, you also know that, the Supreme Court, there was this trending topic today, trending news that the Supreme Court caught fire today. We are hoping that somebody was on Arise TV, but I don't think we have time to go through that video. He came to
Yeah, go ahead. I'm waiting.
So the spokesman from the Supreme Court was on Arise TV. He was saying that it's just a section of the Supreme Court that was destroyed. It's not as if it's the entire building. And he also affirmed that sensitive documents were not affected. though Nigerians on the social media were saying that even if they say that the fire caught everything, that they should know that they have backup to whatever they have on their system. So, but Nigeria, they can just come now and tell us that that this one has been destroyed, that the other one has been destroyed, just like what normally happens anytime we are about going into an election. They will tell us that the INEC office caught fire and all that. There's always stories. So when this one happened, so many people were not really that confident. You can imagine now, we don't even trust our government. As in, no matter what they tell you, you must trace some lies attached to it. And doctor, let me just play this maybe for just some few minutes because we're about calling it a day.
Court building complex is said to be on fire at the 3-arm zone, Abuja, with offices of 3 justices allegedly burned down. We're now joined by the spokesperson of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, Festus Akande. Good morning, Dr. Akande. Good to have you on the morning show.
Good morning, Dr. Ruben.
Well, thank you very much. Please, could you bring us up to date about the situation at the Supreme Court, the number of offices that were affected by the fire, the possible cause, from immediate preliminary investigation, and the extent of the damage so far?
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruben. Actually, there was a fire incident in Supreme Court this morning, and it affected just one chamber. Contrary to the information being peddled in social media, Supreme Court was not and is not under any evasion from hoodlums or any miscreants. It was just as a result of maybe electrical malfunction or so. That was the preliminary investigations we have carried out so far. Further investigations are still ongoing now, so we can't say categorically what caused it, but from what we have found out this morning, it was an electrical fault, and good enough, Supreme Court is well equipped with fire appliances, and the staff were able to come to it immediately, and they were able to deploy all the fire extinguishers that are installed on all the floors of the court, and they were able to douse the fire even before we got help from the fire service outside the Supreme Court.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. May I just ask, at what time, if you have the information, did this fire start? And how long before the staff were able to bring it under control or contain it? And then what is the current state of things now?
Well, it happened this morning. The staff were already in the office sometime between 7:30, 8, and it didn't take them even up to an hour before they put out the fire. Because we have fire extinguishers everywhere, so they were able to deploy those extinguishers and were able to effectively douse the fire. And only one chamber, please, for the records, only one chamber was affected. So not 2, 3, or 4 has been peddled in the social media.
Okay, real quickly, were offices of judges affected? Because there's another story that is coming out that said offices of judges were affected. Can you clarify for us? Secondly, did the building have CCTV?
Yes.
Hang on a minute, please. Did the building have CCTV cameras that are working, that we can see how the fire started up in various rooms? Also, we would like to ask, did the building have sprinklers? Fire blankets and other fire tools, or just it was this CCTV camera? And fourth, isn't the building supposed to be evacuated? Are you speaking from the building as we speak? Or another wing of the building? Isn't this building supposed to be evacuated?
I'm right in my office.
Okay.
Okay.
But was the building evacuated?
Right now in my office, and this interview. Well, since it wasn't a very serious issue, so there was no point evacuating anybody because the staff were fully on ground and they moved in immediately and doused the fire. So it couldn't even extend to any other chamber. Only one chamber was affected by the fire incident. And also, when you talk about sprinklers, This is a very old building, so we have been trying to improvise. We have been installing different gadgets that could help, and that was why they were able to effectively use the fire extinguishers on ground to put out the fire.
So you have no sprinklers in the hall, you have no fire blankets out there, you don't have modern firefighting equipment. That's number one. Secondly, do you have a CCTV camera that can at least also get some evidence as regards what happened for us? And are the pictures intact?
Sure, we have.
Well, Dr. Akonde, just before you
Everything
go.
should be intact. That is the next phase we are moving into. So if we talk of sprinklers, there's no way we can start installing sprinklers in an old building. That's why we had to improvise by bringing in some new modern gadgets that could be deployed effectively.
Okay, but
we have fire blankets as well. But what they were able to use very well, and that is very effective, is the fire extinguisher. And that was able to solve it for us because it couldn't even extend to any other chamber apart from the particular one that this fire emanated from.
Dr. Abati, but you have CCTV cameras that probably captured when the fire started in the buildings for investigation. Just a
moment. To add to that, can you?
So, Doc, I just wanted to allow you listen to this same question that Rufai was asking him about if they had any video, that can help as evidence. But he did not really tackle that question very well. So he was trying to evade it. I don't know.
He's
I just
evading
hope.
it. He's evading it. Number one. Number two, he says old building. What old building? When did Nigeria relocate to Abuja as our capital? The CMS building in Lagos, do you know how many 100 years it is? The CMS church that is in Lagos. They say old building. The parliament in London that they come, do you know how many centuries it has existed? The houses they come overseas to go and buy in Germany, to go and buy in UK, to go and buy in US. Some of them are houses that are more than 200 years. But Babangida relocated to Abuja, I think 1992. So what are they talking? That's just about 30 years. How can you say a 30 years building is old? If you maintain it, it will be it can be 300 years. The houses they buy that they live in here, in US, live in Germany, live in Spain, live in the UK, are more than 300 years. They're more than 300 years. And you're saying that you can't maintain the Supreme Court. What is the budget they're receiving? What is the budget they're receiving? The same National Assembly complex we have today, they say 3 arm zones. So they have the judiciary, the presidency. When was Aso Rock built? Was Aso Rock not older than all of these things? That's number one. And number two, you can see the extent of damage. I wish you saw the flames that he said our staff quickly dealt with it. Fine. They will not tell you that any sensitive material was destroyed.
It's true.
I am not even
saying
impressed.
as if it only affected just a room or so.
Yes.
The way he's trying to paint it.
Says it whittled it down. Whittled it down. And thirdly, we need to understand social media, these people hate social media. But they can't help it. Social media have proven to carry more genuine news than the so-called mainstream media. For instance, even as they started here, Ruben Abati said alleged. They said alleged. They themselves, who are the mainstream media, were not there as the journalists to go and put their head in. It was social media people that risked their lives, went there, took the video, took the picture, and posted it where channels, where Arise and Co. started grabbing it and now presenting it as alleged. To say alleged means that they are not the source of the information. The people who should be the source of information are getting their information from social media. Okay, look look at, we're talking about David Hundeyin. This is just a young boy who just decided to, okay, I'm going to be digging. Today, both AIT, both Arise, both channels, all of them, the highest information they have about the Chicago State University issue is all that David Hundeyin put out there. So David Hundeyin is the source of news for the mainstream media in Nigeria. That is how hard they are working to be the source of what do they call again? What states do they call themselves? That's how hard our mainstream media are working in grabbing, in sourcing, and verifying and disseminating credible and healthy information to Nigerians. You can imagine. So news is not about wearing suit and sitting in an air-conditioned office. News is really sticking your neck out there, getting that information live, getting it real, verifying it, and pushing it out. I have never seen the journalism industry that is like Nigeria. Everything is according to, then say, they said, alleged. You never see them as the source. Go to David Hundeyin's blog. He will tell you, I am the source. I sourced it, I paid for it, I risked my life, I got it, and I am putting it out there. That's why the politicians can afford to do what they do and go scot-free, because nobody's checkmating them. It is until this era of social media, especially being empowered by a man like Peter Obi who says, go and verify. And that's why they hate him. When Peter Obi says, go and verify, he says, verify all of us. Verify me, verify them. We have verified him and he's clean, but they say we must not verify them. And we said, no, we are verifying you people. My dear.
Yeah, Doug. Thank you very much. Honestly, the social media has really played a very vital role in this fight, this fight for freedom, since the campaign for this election started, the social media has really been a very, very vital tool in, circulating some of the information that people need to know. If not for the social media, this news we are bringing to you now, you might not get it. And this is what our politicians, they don't want to hear. If they have their way now, they will come with a bill. Buhari even tried it. He didn't succeed. Don't, maybe this administration, if they are allowed to stay, they will want to silence everybody. The way things are going now, it is certain. For me, in short, the Supreme Court judges cannot cover this one. Assuming this judge in the US says Tinubu is a female, tell me the judge that will come to uphold his victory, the victory that was given to him by INEC. Tell me the judge that will want to do that. Meaning we have a president who is a male and graduated with a certificate indicating he was a female. You can imagine that there is no way. The Constitution is clear that if you forged your certificate, you will be disqualified. You'll be asked to leave your position. So that is just what we are looking forward to. It's good we educate ourselves, we get to know all this information so that when the Supreme Court rules, you know why they rule what they ruled, And if they ruled in the other direction, to favor the political class, you can easily identify it. Yes, and so we must keep educating ourselves. It's very important. So guys, Doc, I don't know if you have any closing thoughts.
No, I'm glad the way you presented it. As I've said, we know that there are two courts now. The courts of the elites and the courts of our conscience. Even if the elite denies us justice and by their judgment, let the courts of conscience keep on delivering justice so that we know what is true. Somebody texted me today and said, finally, where are you people now? I said, we won. He said, how? Haven't you seen the presidential election? I said, we won. He said, how? I said, because we know the truth. I gave him an example. I said, if you're traveling And on the road, some heavily armed people accosted you on the road and say, everybody come out of the vehicle, bring out what is in the pocket, drop it, and when you drop it, say, thank you, sir. And the gun is cocked on your head. Will you not bring out everything in your pocket, drop it, and say, thank you, sir? You will do it. Not because you like it, but because there's a gun on your head. They empowered you, overpowered you. We know the truth. So it doesn't matter if they bully us, make us say yes, sir, as if we are slaves, because we need to exist. But we know what is the truth. So we're fine. We know when we won the war and when we lost the battle. Whatever they do against the law in the court is just a battle. But in our heart, as I said, Martin Luther King Jr. died before he was 50 years. Long time ago, they popped a bullet into his head, but the man is still living till date. The young man who took over power in Burkina Faso hadn't been born when they killed Thomas Sankara, but he took over. Sankara said, you can kill the flesh, but you will not kill the movement. And after about 33 years, 30-something years, after he had died, they killed him in 1987, am I right? Yes. 1987. A young man that is about 33 years, who hadn't even been born when he was killed, grew, had, caught the fire, and took over and continued where the man stopped. That is what these people are not seeing. That there is a movement that the movers are winning.
Mhm.
It's a war we are winning. They may be winning the battle of keeping themselves in power today, but we are winning the war of retaking back our Nigeria.
Yes.
That's what they don't understand.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Doc, thank you very much. Thank you. We look forward to hearing what the Supreme Court is going to tell us if they should uphold Tinubu's victory as declared by INEC. It means that Nigeria is going to keep depreciating because, this argument is going to continue throughout his 4 years. Look at what has happened, even since after he was sworn in. They've not really articulated themselves. They've not gathered themselves together to start addressing some of the problems we have in Nigeria. Things are even getting worse by the day because they don't really have that peace. Like the Bible says, there is no peace for the wicked. They don't really have that peace to gather themselves and think on how to start fixing Nigeria. Every day is a new topic, like this one now making headlines. So we just hope that the judiciary is going to save Nigeria these 4 years so that we don't get it, worst. Let's just try to regain ourselves again. Should they rule and rule in favor of what the people want, let them consider Nigerians and not our few politicians. So guys, we are going to be ending it today. At this point, thank you so much for being a part of today's live session. Please just like this video for us and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell for future uploads. With this, I want to say a very big thank you for being a part of our live session tonight. God bless you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Good
Doc,
night.
thank you
Yeah.
too.
Good night. Thank you. Great. Yeah.